Hi, my name is Len David Hart. I just got this shed. I put these shed doors on this shed. This is a set of double doors, and it's got bi-rib steel siding, if you're familiar with that. And what I did was, I tried to, and I did, well, it was my intention. A lot of times I'll use Texture 111 on these barn doors, but on this job it was already started with the bi-rib, the metal siding. It's like a barn type siding and roofing material. So I just continued the job with it, and what I did was I let this has an overlap, and so what I did, I let this overlap work together, and it just so worked out that I was able to make the top match as well. I installed the drip cap, and this is nothing but more than it's acting as a sheathing and a framing. So what I did was I put this on top of this, was already here, and I made these doors even plane with this framing. And this is Vicor. I got a double layer of Vicor here. There's no stop on this. This is kind of like a ad-lib job. And underneath of the Vicor are a set of hinges that are bolted directly or screwed directly to the framing on the wall and the framing on the door. These doors I made, they're two separate leaves. They're 2x4 frames with they're 2x4 frames. And that's how I made them. Gave myself a little room, and I have other videos on how I had spacers in here, but there's the hinges, and here's the Vicor. This is sticky stuff. I put 2 layers on here. And then I put a double sill, because the guy eventually went to put stone here, and we put a double sill so I could overlap the siding past the sill to keep the water on the outside of the building, rather than, you know, dripping off and running in here. I capped this part. I got this handle from there's a shed that's called the Shed Brothers. They're in Molokai, right outside of Hamilton, and they sell me these handles. They got me this handle here. Well, they gave it to me, really, but and these handles are they're very good. When I built the door frames, I made so there's a little bit of a separation. I gave myself like 1.25 inches between the frames. If you can see this, it's going to be hard to see, but got a frame here and I got a frame here. So, and I had to build the bottom. I built this header down. Bad lighting here, sorry about that, bad lighting. I had to build this see if I can get this to improve. I built the header down to make it level. That's how we did that. And I had 1/2 inch spacers between the door leaf frame and the framing itself, and the framing was very close. The building's out of level this way, but the sides were very, very plumb, so I think it just settled in the ground. This was like a run-in stall, and the guy just put 2 doors on it. So that's just some of the things how we did this. And then of course the Vicor runs down past, and that's how we did it. Good thing I came. I got to take this off. But anyway, that's how this got done. Now when this is all said and done, this locks and you walk away from it, and it's a nice job. And of course on the other side there is little slide bolts. You know, the slide bolts that you put on. I got one there, and I got one on top. Of course the lighting's bad, but you get the idea. That keeps this door, this is the passive door, and this is the active door. So that's just some of the things. I had a raw edge here, and I didn't want to use J-channel because I didn't want the J-channel to bind. In other words, if I had J-channel here and J-channel here, when these two came together, when this door opened, these two would bind. So this is just undersill I made on the job, and I have a video of that. You'll see how that was made. And the top, the door skins overlap the header too. So they overlap the header and they overlap the bottom sill. And at the very top, I just slipped that drip edge in there. Even though it really didn't need it with a 2-foot overhang, that's how we put it in. But there's videos on how I did this, and this is what we did here. Double door shed. I made the shed out of the same material the siding was made out of, or the shed doors out of the same material the siding was made out of, and that's what it looks like. Now on these corners here, this was a factory edge. So I just cut that corner, and I cut that corner. This was able to receive a job made undersill, covering up the raw edge. And this gives me a low profile, so when these two doors open, they won't bind. If I had channel here and channel here, that would, first wind time would come along, you'd have it crunched. Some of the other things. When I put the fasteners in, they were spaced like a 10-inch intervals, which makes it more uniform. It makes it more uniform. If it's not uniform, then it draws your eye to it. So we want to try to make it not as obvious. And that's just some of the things we did here. But these are a little bit of work. But it did work out well as far as being able to match the siding with the doesn't look as obvious. Now I told the guy if he wants he can get some latex paint and paint this Vicor. So what it actually is there's a wall frame here, there's a wall frame here, and then there's the building frame is here. There's a 1/2 inch gap between them. If you can see my fingers poking a hole there. So there's no way really to seal or flash this or have a stop, a positive stop. So what we did was we just put this, it was the homeowner's idea, the guy who owns the property. He's like, can't you put something on there? I'm like, well, I guess we can. So we did. We put that on there. And then of course the soffit got done. That soffit's all done. The metal was on there. I just slipped this vinyl in behind it. So that was something else we did here. That's just some of the things. So again, it was a run install. We were able to put 2 plates on. So he wants to put stone on the inside, and another thing we put 2 plates on because in the summer when this grass starts to grow again, these doors are going to be they're going to be harder to open than they are now. You know, the grass is going to want to grow in front of these, and then when you shut it, of course the grass is going to get caught in behind the door skin. And like I was showing you earlier, these door skins, they lap over the plate. This is just some PVC coil we made on here, nailed it on the back, and that's what we did here. That's what we did. PVC coil. I pre-drilled the holes in the metal. I was able to slide this back a little, drill a hole, slide it back, and then I put the nail in the hole. Okay, and here's the Vicor that's wrapped around the other side. So this, I don't know how long the Vicor is going to last, but if the guy wants to get some latex paint, I was saying to him, don't use a spray can because the solvents in the spray can might eat into this Vicor. But I think if you put some white latex paint, I think you'd be okay. I think it would be, now whether it would stick or not, I don't know, but I think it would be better than the spray can. Alright, well, thanks for stopping around. These are 8-foot panels. I did my best. The only thing I had to cut was this edge here. I only have one raw edge here on my work. This has a raw edge, but I covered it with undersill. This is a factory edge. I wanted a factory edge here too because when you open this, I didn't want a raw edge here to cut people. It's bad enough this is here. So a factory edge and a factory edge. That worked out good. And then we have a factory edge here. So that's how that worked out. And even if I couldn't match the siding, I would still say to put the, you know, to center this so you have one that laps the other, just like a regular seam that you'd have on a running wall. With the pieces would just be lapped one over top of the other. And these door skins are also, they lock everything into position. In other words, once this is on here, these are the structural part of it. This locks the 2x4 wall square, which I have a video on how we did that too. Alright, this is Len, David Hart. Appreciate your time, and we'll talk again.